Now, here's Michael Smerconish.
Thank you to the 30,000 who voted yesterday, 30,005 at Smerconish.com, on the poll question of the day, which asked, in a state where one party can't win a Senate seat, should that party step aside for a strong independent? I was motivated to ask that question because Seth Bodner was here on Monday. Seth Bodner is running for the United States Senate as an independent from Montana. His Democratic opponent has not stepped aside, but in Idaho, South Dakota, Nebraska, where there are strong independent candidates for the Senate, the Democrats have stood down on the calculus that their shot would be better in dislodging the Republicans if they didn't get in the way of strong independent candidates. In a state where one party can't win a Senate seat, should that party step aside for a strong independent? 84.19% of us, I was in the majority on this, obviously, said yes. Yes, that's what they should do. Today's poll question, we're going to deal with this in the second hour of the program with a special guest, which is, I have to say, I labored long and hard to come up with a data center AI poll question that wouldn't be 99-1. Because such is the public sentiment these days running against construction of data centers. I think I have a great question. Which is worse, building data centers or losing to China the AI race they power? One of the largest developers in my home state of Pennsylvania is going to join me in the second hour of the program in studio. He's seeking to build a data center. I thought it would be of value if we heard the developer's perspective. We will do that in hour two. I'm looking forward to it. But I want to begin with this. You've heard of the full Ginsburg. You know the full Ginsburg. I'm not talking Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I'm not talking Douglas Ginsburg. Good trivia. Why did Douglas Ginsburg not make it to the Supreme Court of the United States? Arguably for a reason that today would not have stood in his way. But no, I'm talking about William Ginsburg. He was the lawyer for the intern in the Clinton scandal. It was February 1, 1998, at the height of that scandal, that Bill Ginsburg did something that nobody had ever done before. And that is, he appeared on all 5 Sunday morning programs on the same morning. Meet the Press, Face the Nation, This Week, Fox News Sunday, CNN's Late Edition, 5 networks, 1 lawyer, 1 story, and ever since they've called it the full Ginsburg. I was thinking about Bill Ginsburg yesterday in the afternoon because in the afternoon I was working out. I have a small gym in my home. I have Apple TV there as I do here in our studio, and I've got the quad where I can look at MS Now, Fox News, CNN, and the BBC, which I really love. But I was on the rower, TC, as this happened. It was Fox News that first had the story, and then it was MS Now, and then it was the BBC. And I kept waiting, like CNN is a little slow on the draw on this, and then CNN had it as well. And all 4 at the same time had the passing of Dolly Parton. And not only did they have it as I was on the rower, they stayed with it.
They stayed with it. And it wasn't just the cable news outlets. I, have a habit of watching the nightly news, and I find it very interesting to see what they choose to do in their 1.5 hour that they have. 3 segments on Dolly Parton last night on CBS Evening News. 3 segments. I, of course, absolutely loved her and have been singing 9 to 5 nonstop since I heard the news, blasting it. But I'm not sure I realized how universal she was to seemingly everyone. Of every political, you're always looking for this, Michael. You're always looking for something that brings everyone together.
That's what I'm going to talk about.
I mean,
yeah, she did it. She did it.
Wow.
Really, really unique.
A singular force.
In that coverage that I referenced, one by one, they all played the announcement. The announcement came by video. I'm going to roll just 20 seconds of it, and it was made by her nephew. Let's watch.
Hey, everyone. My name is Brian Seaver, son of Cassie Parton, and I'm representing the Parton and Owens family today, announcing the passing of my Aunt Dolly Rebecca Parton Dean, sister, sis, Aunt Granny to one generation and Gigi to the next. This video announcement is something Dolly asked of me years ago, before I fully absorbed it as a future reality. As her head of security for more than 2 decades, a role my father Larry held before me, I have imagined the heaviness of this moment, but haven't truly felt it until now.
Yeah, amazing the way that they handled it. I thought with such dignity. And just think about the news cycle. It's not exactly been a slow news cycle. The Canadian tariff issue, huge issue. We're going to deal with that appropriately tomorrow. The war with Iran, CIA Director Ratcliffe in Russia, the new CTE study pertaining to NFL players, everything got moved. Summertime or anytime, Parks Casino was my casino of choice, always has been. In the Philly burbs, their slogan, this is how you win, and this is how you mingle. They've got country nights, Latin dance nights, they've got comedy, they've got headliners, gaming, drinks, food, whatever you're looking for. It's all at Parks Casino. At the end of this week, George Thorogood and the Destroyers will be in town in the Excite Center, Australian Pink Floyd. Everybody loves Australian Pink Floyd. Comedian Tim Dillon, November 14, Rick Springfield, December 3rd, country music faves Lady A on December 18. Check it all out online, PARX Casino, parkscasino.com. You got to be 21. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. I practiced law before I ever sat behind a microphone. And here's something the lawyer in me can't let go of. Millions of seniors, they're on the wrong Medicare plan. And not because they're careless, but because most brokers only show the plans they're contracted to sell. Consider this. The Department of Justice sued 3 of the largest Medicare brokers in the country, alleging they claimed to be unbiased, but they were steering seniors toward the plans that paid them the most. Chapter, they're the alternative. They're the only advisor that compares every Medicare plan nationwide, your doctors, your prescriptions, your zip code, and then tells you straight whether you're on the right plan. No steering, no pressure. On average, they've saved seniors about $1,100 a year. The review is free. It takes about 20 minutes, and the final call is yours, fully informed. Call Chapter today, 507-478-7579. I'll say it again, 507-478-7579. Hey, they just told me that when I reach 100,000 subscribers, YouTube sends me a plaque. I want the plaque. Only 26% of you watching are subscribed, so please help us reach this goal and subscribe. It costs you nothing. We come out with great new content every day, so just ring the bell next to the subscribe button and you'll never miss a video. Thank you so much. Let's go back to what we were doing. Here's another indicator of the size of this story and the attention of the media. One of the bookmarks that I have on my computer where I'm looking constantly to see what's going on as I decide what's going in my newsletter and what will I talk about both here on SiriusXM POTUS and on CNN is Google Trends. Because I get it, I'm out of touch in some segments of culture and society, and I don't want to miss something that people are buzzing about. Often sports stories dominate what's getting the most buzz in terms of Google Trends. So in ascending order, very early this morning when I did my read, Jamar Chase, the injury, Little Debbie New Chocolates collaboration, I don't know what that is. The Astros and Yankees, the Dodgers and Braves, each of them in the 100,000 search volume range. Dolly Parton, 10 million. 10 million. That puts it in perspective in terms of what's the online buzz. The president ordered American flags lowered to half staff and for a week. That's until sunset on November 1st. Every federal building, every military installation, every American embassy on earth. To put that in perspective, I went looking for instances where this has been done for private citizens. I found Martin Luther King Jr., I found Rosa Parks, I found Neil Armstrong, I found Billy Graham. The only entertainer that I could find who received that type of treatment having passed was Bob King. Was Bob Hope. Was Bob Hope for a single day. For a single day. Charlie Kirk got 4 days. Remember that last September? Dolly Parton gets 7. No other private citizen entertainer in our history who's given that honor. And the line, I'm not sure who said it initially, that everything has been said, but not everybody has said it. I do have something I want to say about Dolly Parton. And TC, of course, knew where I would want to go on this. In a word, the monoculture. The monoculture, the death of the monoculture, the shared understanding and the shared experience that's so lacking today in society. I like to use television shows to illustrate what I'm talking about. February 1983, MASH signs off and draws a 77 share. What does that mean? It means that 77% of every television turned on in America at that time was watching that one show. Or to say it differently, 106 million people watched the same thing, and this is important in a world of now streaming services, at the same time. And that was when the country was 234 million. Like everybody was in communion with MASH. That country is gone. This year, roughly 95 of the 100 most watched telecasts were sports. 83 of them were NFL games. Broadcast television, that which used to be like, the American Campfire, is no longer the case. Broadcast television is down under 20%. We don't have a national conversation anymore. We've got 340 million private conversations, and technology has played a significant role in that regard. My loosely described Mingle project is all about this, seeking to reestablish common purpose, common experience, social capital. Because my belief is that the self-sorting that's taken place in this country has made it impossible to solve our big problems. We're all caught up in our own silos and unique circles and connecting with people who share our interests and our politics and come from the same demographic that we do. We just don't have many moments like this. And that's what occurred last night. That's what made that which happened last night so unbelievable. On a couple of hours' notice, CBS and ABC both blew up their 10 o'clock hour. CBS News put on a full-hour call Dolly Parton, an American icon, Gayle King, Tony DeCopel, and Anthony Mason, all participating. ABC cleared the same slot for a 2020 special. NBC went wall-to-wall with its news programming, CMT obviously doing a big special. I could go on and on and on. Last night was election night in South Carolina. Here's another barometer. Darlene Graham ends up winning that race. She ended up winning that race. We talked about it yesterday at the end of the program, had a great conversation. So this is embarrassing for me to tell you, but I'll say it anyway. When I was watching TV in the 4 o'clock hour this morning, in the 4 o'clock hour this morning, what was CNN showing? Anderson Cooper from last night. And what was Anderson Cooper talking about for the totality of his show on election night in South Carolina and in Oklahoma? No disrespect to the Sooners. He was interviewing people, so great guests, by the way. Cameron Crowe. I saw him interview Cameron Crowe last night, meaning this morning, talking about Dolly Parton. Everybody talking about Dolly Parton. Just amazing. I'm not the person to tell you about the catalog. Here You Come Again. Love it. Love Whitney Houston's cover of I Will Always Love You. Candidly, didn't know the backstory until I read all the obituaries. You mentioned the acting career. I loved 9 to 5. Lily Tomlin, Jane Fonda, but my fave in that movie, apart from Dolly Parton, was Dabney Coleman, who was the sexist boss. You remember him? He was always like the villain. He was in 3 Days of the Condor. I loved that guy.
He pushed all the pencils, so she would have
the best. Right?
Just the absolute best.
Stuff you couldn't. And I have to.
And that was the 80s. That was before all. It was. She wrote 9 to 5 before all of this stuff.
Before Me Too.
She's a feminist icon. Who knew?
Absolutely. Okay. I'll tell you what other kind of icon she is, just in terms of being a sex symbol. How about, my image of Dolly Parton, I cannot believe it was 3 years ago. This is my fading memory. If you had asked me, I would have said, being honest, yeah, it was last year's Super Bowl. No, Michael. A, it wasn't a Super Bowl. B, it wasn't last year. It was 3 years ago, and it was Thanksgiving when she came out at age 77 in that cowboy cheerleader outfit.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Amazing. Just amazing. On this whole subject of how Dolly Parton represents the monoculture. Dolly Parton was that unique individual around whom we could all rally. How about the fact that in 2019, Lindsay Zolance profiled Dolly Parton for the New York Times, in the midst of all this polarization. The headline on the piece Is there anything we can all agree on? Yes, Dolly Parton. That was Dolly Parton at age 73. Like Cher, another 73-year-old multi-hyphenate icon, Parton has, over the past few years, ascended to a rarefied level of intergenerational celebrity, a saucy grandmother of social media. When the Gen Z sheriff and Old Town Road mastermind Lil Nas X wondered aloud on Twitter, y'all think I can get Dolly Parton and Megan Thee Stallion on an Old Town Road mix? Parton, or at least somebody on her team, quickly picked up, responded with a unicorn emoji. I was so happy for him, she then said. I don't care how we present country music or keep it alive. I'm all about acceptance. The quote, writes the Times, classic Dolly. Anyone can see himself or herself in it, no matter which side of the country traditionalists versus Lil Nas debate they land on. Both sides-ism rarely feels as benevolent as it does when coming from Parton, but that's nothing new. When asked in 1997 how she was able to maintain fan bases within both the religious right and gay community, she replied, it's two different worlds. And I live in both, and I love them both, and I understand and accept them. That was her gift, the amazing story of having so many siblings and the cornmeal that was delivered to the doctor who delivered her and the philanthropy and the book program, an amazing story. And just so nice to know, I saw a poll that had Dolly Parton in a mix with public figures and every politician you can imagine, and she had the highest approval rating, 70% approval rating. Just unparalleled. In a moment, I'm going to challenge you and hope that you can give me names of individuals who are still with us, around whom we can similarly unite. TC had a good one. We were talking about Dolly Parton this morning. I won't steal your thunder. Who did you say we can all unite and love?
Charles Barkley.
Charles Barkley, who was right here.
Right in that chair. Common sense, kindness, acceptance.
Totally.
Smart.
Yep.
Work ethic.
Yep.
All the things.
Yeah, I had to
all
go,
the things.
I had to
Talent.
I had to go
obviously.
back. I had to go back and check my notes because, over the years he's been, as I was preparing to have Sir Charles back in studio, because he's been rumored and courted to run for office. Yeah, both as an R and as a D. Everybody wants him.
And what did we say? If there were more people like Charles Barkley in the world, we would be better off. And that's what I've said now since we heard the news.
Totally.
We need more Dolly Partons. We need more Charles Barkleys. Be kind.
So last night I reached out for Bob Crawford, our friend Bob Crawford.
We need more Bob Crawfords in the world.
The upright bass player for the Avett Brothers. And the conversation went like this, like, Bob, where are you? Answer, on the road with Willie Nelson. On the road with Willie Nelson. Where will you be tomorrow morning? The bus is pulling into Chicago at 9 a.m. Eastern, I think he said. I'm not sure. But he's allowing us to intrude on his tour bus right now. Hey, Bob, I thought that you would have a unique perspective about Dolly Parton and her influence in the way that I'm describing it. What are your thoughts?
I think she's the most unifying figure of the late 20th, early 21st century. Like you just said it. Like her Q score, her Q rating is better than anyone else's. That's that measure that people used to use in the media that determined who was the most likable, how much were you liked, and she's liked on the right and she's liked on the left. And I think, for me, that Trump lowering the flags and honoring her.
I think we lost him.
We may have lost him. Yeah, I know Bob well enough to say that he was going to tell us that was appropriate and that it was deserved. And I think that's true. I'll seek to get Bob back in the mix. But in the meantime, I'm inviting all of you to call and either reflect on the role that Dolly Parton played in the monoculture, or please make my day and identify somebody else who is such a unifier and is still with us. Consider those who are mourning Dolly Parton, President Trump, there's never been anyone like her, Bernie Sanders, Marsha Blackburn, Andy Beshear, J.K. Rowling, who called her Imagination Library the best contribution to child literacy and celebrity ever made, Pedro Pascal, who has publicly called J.K. Rowling's rhetoric heinous and wrote One of One, We Must Make More. Jack White, Instant Sainthood. Paul McCartney, Elton John, Reba, Carole King / Julia Roberts, Miley Cyrus, her goddaughter. People who are seemingly not agreeing on much of anything else, but everybody agrees on Dolly Parton. Kevin, you're in Nova Scotia. You've got a name. Give me that name that we can all unite around.
I would say it would be John Cena.
Interesting. How come? Defend it.
Well, he does all the children's wish stuff. I don't think he's ever turned one down. He's a decent human being. If you've ever heard him in any interviews, he always comes across very polite, very well-reasoned, doesn't seem to have any animosity towards anybody, and he's very entertaining.
I watched.
I don't think there's anybody.
I watched the documentary on Netflix. I don't remember the title of it. It was multi-part, and I really came away with a high regard for him. I didn't understand him. I didn't understand the role that he's played until I saw that documentary, and I was really, really impressed. That's a good suggestion. It is a really good suggestion. On his tour bus. This is Bob Crawford. I think we lost the video, but we've got the... Where exactly are you, and where did you play last night?
Okay, so we played in Chicago last night. By the way, Michael, it's great to be here with you and everybody this morning on this important morning. But we were in Chicago last night with Willie Nelson. We're on tour with Willie, and we are now on 76 in the middle of Pennsylvania.
Wow. Headed where?
Well, we're headed to a day off at a undisclosed location.
Okay. Do I happen to know that location, by the way?
I think you do. I think it's a great place to get a day of rest.
Okay.
And I think you would know where it is.
Maybe our paths will cross. So you started to tell us.
Wonderful.
You started to tell us before the break about her position in the world, but how about her position in the music world? What's the buzz as you are literally on the concert trail?
Yeah, well, like I said, I'm out here with Willie Nelson, and he plays a song. It's a Tom Waits song. It's called "The Last Leaf on the Tree." He plays it every night, and you can imagine what that symbolizes. And last night, it kind of hit differently because it feels like Willie is part of that generation of Dolly, and we wonder like, why is Dolly so universally loved? I think it goes back to the period in which she became famous. That the 70s and 80s and 90s, and that was a time when the monoculture ruled, right? And so we had that residual kind, fond love for her, and more importantly, like Willie, she's the genuine article, right? Kenny Rogers once said that he only knew two people who were the same person on stage that they were off stage, and that was Dolly Parton and Willie Nelson.
I love that.
So I think we recognize, we recognize her honesty and her how genuine she is, and she was true to herself, and that people connect with that, and I think she met us all where we are, and that's so unique.
Bob Crawford, listen to this, because I made passing reference to it and I want everybody to hear. A poll from March, UMass, Lowell, and YouGov. 70% of Americans viewed Dolly Parton favorably, 5% unfavorably. I'd like to meet them, meaning a net plus of 65. The only human being in the entire survey who cleared 50%, with Democrats, Republicans, and independents at the same time. Next closest was President Obama at plus 14. President Trump was minus 18. Biden minus 19. 51 points clear of the field. That kind of sums it up, right?
It does, and I hate to be negative on this, but I don't see there being another person, that who can achieve that, at least presently and in the near future. I mean, even Willie Nelson, as beloved as he is, he's out there campaigning for Democratic candidates in Texas, and I think that's been very divisive for some of his fan base. So I think he's beloved, but I don't think he gets that overall approval that Dolly had.
You know, and she avoided the political spotlight, did not want to be a recipient by way of illustration of a presidential Medal of Freedom. And I think that her success in large part is measured by the fact that I couldn't tell you her politics. I could tell you that she's very accepting. I could tell you that she's not divisive. But if you were to ask me to assess this icon who's been on the stage for 60 years, for as long as I've been around, I would have a hard time telling you this is how I think she sees the world. And I guess that's a virtue.
Yeah, and I think even she struggled with that in the Trump years because if you recall, it was the Academy Awards or something where they had a reunion of Lily Tomlin and her and Jane Fonda. And I think Lily Tomlin and Jane Fonda wanted to make a statement about Trump, and she didn't want to be a part of that. That was in the first term. And then I think she did a good bit of money towards the Moderna vaccine, and I think that
at Vanderbilt
was controversial.
Yep.
And then even her book, she had a program that gives a book to every child, like monthly or quarterly, a book to every child in the state of Tennessee. And I think, the book ban brigade, I think they even got on her a little bit about that. And so it even got tricky for her, but she was able to maintain that universal belovedness.
George Will wrote a column about her already. Quote, in 1995, this daughter of an illiterate father started Imagination Library, which in participating states mails free books, more than 318 million so far, to children when they are born, and every month thereafter until they are 5 when they receive Look Out Kindergarten, Here I Come. The words Here I Come could have been the overture for the well-lived life that began 80 years ago. Bob Crawford from the Avett Brothers, upright bass player, historian, sometime host of this program. Travel safe on the road, and I hope I see you soon.
I'll talk to you, brother. My best to TC and Dan and everybody there.
Thank you, Bob. Appreciate it. 3 times she was offered the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Twice by President Trump, once by President Biden. 3 times she said no. Her line was, I do not work for those awards. When Tennessee legislators wanted to erect a statue of her in the state capitol, she asked them not to. Her words, I do not think putting me on a pedestal is appropriate at this time. When people told her the name of her Dixie Stampede dinner show was hurtful, she didn't argue, didn't counterattack, she changed it. She said, as soon as you realize that something is a problem, you should fix it. She said, Black Lives Matter. She said it plainly. She told her gay friends she loved them. She did it for 40 years and from Nashville and never once told anybody how to vote. I've got as many fans that are Democrats as I do as Republicans, she said. I'm not going to insult either one of them. Malcolm is standing by in New Jersey. Hi, Malcolm. What did you want to say?
Thanks for taking my call, but I was going to say Stevie Wonder, and one thing about Dolly, she never forgot where she came from.
She certainly did not, and was so generous with that community, and Dollywood provided so many jobs and opportunities for folks there. Interesting, I've got a limited board. It's only like 10 lines, but Stevie Wonder gets 2 votes, which is more than anybody else. Here, I'll let Hakeem in Frisco, Texas, make the same case. Why Stevie Wonder? Why do you think he similarly unites everybody?
Well, I was going to say Stevie Wonder, and I thought about an additional one, Diana Ross. So both Stevie and Diana Ross. But I say Stevie simply because universally loved, been around a long time. There's not a wedding that you go to that you won't more than likely hear a Stevie Wonder song, no matter what the demographics of the people of the wedding are. And he hasn't been very controversial. I know that he has always been a supporter of President Obama, but at the same time, I think that he is universally appreciated, universally valued. And there's not a venue or place he goes to that he's not celebrated.
Yeah, I'll tell you,
I would definitely
Hakeem, I'll tell you a funny thing. I was driving on Saturday or Sunday, a long car trip, and I don't know what possessed me to do it, but I put on songs in the key of life. I'm old school. I still like to listen. I still like to listen to an album in sequence. Like, I don't understand today, the absence of liner notes and so forth. And I was just marveling at, given his disability, how prolific and successful he's been able to be.
He's absolutely amazing, and everybody knows his songs. It's not a matter of well, just this community or just that community. And like Dolly, he has never intentionally tried to isolate himself from any other group or demographic. He's want to make sure everybody is included in his music, which you don't find nowadays. Everybody has to align with someone. And just like Dolly, he said Black Lives Matter. He liked his gay friends, and he didn't care about any of the craziness.
One other quick memory. I'm gonna cut you loose and say thank you for the call. One other quick memory is signed, sealed, delivered. I'm yours. And when the Obama family came out is it Grant Park in Chicago? I think that it is.
I think so.
On that election night, that was the song. That played. Brendan, Connecticut. What was so special about Dolly Parton?
Hi, we brought our kids to Dollywood early summer, and my son, who's 5, absolutely just loved the park, of course, and loved her. And when he signed up for baseball, his intro to bat was Jolene, and everyone was shocked. Like, how does he know who Dolly Parton is? Multi-generational Dolly Parton just reached everybody.
Okay,
and
wait.
Last night,
I got to ask you a quick question.
When he found out she died.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Quick question. So you're telling me you get walk-up music in like Little League these days?
We do. Richfield, Connecticut.
Richfield, Connecticut, and Jolie is his song. That is hysterical. Jake, hello to you in Iowa. What did you want to contribute?
That was actually a little bit different moral compass, but I think Charlie Sheen, when I think of someone that unites kind of people from all sides, he's kind of loved by the sinners and the saints.
Okay, we need to make note of these names and convert them into a poll question. I would not have had Charlie Sheen on my dance card, although I listened to an interview that he did with Bill Maher on what the hell is wrong with me? I listen to it all the time, and I can't all of a sudden think of his podcast. Jesus, okay, it'll come to me.
Club Random.
Thank you. Have you listened to the Charlie Sheen interview on Club Random?
Yeah, I've been a Sheen and a Maher fan forever, and it's just, he's got humility, he's honest, he's genuine.
My God.
You might not love him, but...
Totally agree. And that conversation, I bring it up because that conversation, as is often the case with that particular podcast for me, showed someone in a totally different light and opened my mind. So, yeah, okay, it's in the mix, and I appreciate your suggestion. Brian is in Houston, Texas. Hi, Brian. What did you want to say?
Hey, good morning, Michael, TC. I had a couple of names, but real quick, Michael, I know the last couple of years you've strayed off your 9/11 coverage. I hope for the 25th anniversary you will do one more show, because I think people like Jose Melendez-Perez still deserve to be celebrated as heroes for what they did, but that's another story for another day.
No, it's not. It's okay. Wait. You asked, and I'm going to answer. This year will be a special 25th anniversary program. We are working on it now. And using, I don't want to say too much, but hopefully there will be some new material never heard before. And yeah, I said to SiriusXM, and they're like, we totally agree. This is special. We got to do it right for the 25th. It's a Friday, September 11. You can count on me. Go ahead.
Awesome. Great to hear that. Two, I found another name while I was on hold. One I think is Morgan Freeman. He's universally loved. Everybody knows his movies. Even though he may, have supported Democrats in the past, you rarely ever hear him wade into political discussions. And there's the famous interview where he talks to Mike Wallace about trying to get rid of labels of black, white, this, that. He's talked beyond racism and beyond color and just saying, hey, you're my friend. You're Mike Wallace. I'm Morgan Freeman. You're not white Mike Wallace. You're not black Morgan Freeman. You're Mike Wallace. I'm Morgan Freeman. Talk to me man to man. I think that's what we need more of in society.
I met Morgan Freeman.
And then another one I have.
Jesus, Brian's got a lot to say. Brian, it's a lightning round. I got to say something. I met Morgan Freeman in Croatia.
What?
He walked by our dinner table.
I'm not sure you've ever told this story.
And with my youngest son, who
love
at
him.
the time probably was like 12, we both got up from the table and ran after Morgan Freeman.
Did you?
Who could not have been more gentlemanly when we finally caught up to him.
That is the coolest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. I mentioned the Ginsburg, how I saw the coverage on all 4 of my television pictures right now. I've got 3 of the 4, and it's only because CNN is on commercial break. BBC, live on Dolly Parton. MS Now, live on Dolly Parton. Fox News, live on Dolly Parton. It's a huge story and a unifying element of society. I mean, that's really the remarkable thing to me, is that the monoculture for just one moment exists. Everybody, black, white, Asian, Hispanic, young, old, people just rallying around the legacy of Dolly Parton and just appreciating a life well led. Hello, Kevin. You're in Dallas, Texas. What did you most want to say?
Hey, Michael. Good morning. I think Dolly, I was looking at my Facebook feed with my friends, and most of my friends, I was so surprised that they really appreciated Dolly, and I mean, she reached all diverse groups of people. So I think she was, in a term, bigger than country music.
I agree with you. Yeah, and in all the right ways. Thank you for that, Wes. You're in Tennessee. You're in her hometown. I appreciate you calling. Tell me about that community.
Well, it's pretty devastated, as you can imagine. She did a lot for people down here, and she, she's just an icon everywhere. But in Sevierville, I mean, she helped people out that most people don't know about. And that's the thing I think I'd want most people to know about her, is that they don't know her, what she did for the community, what she did for, people in the community that she didn't even know. I mean, she was just so kind. One short story is there was a girl, Dollywood, lost her heating and air, and she didn't know who she was, and Dolly paid for her heating and air to be installed for her.
I'm so glad that you called from Sevierville. Am I saying it correctly? Say it out loud for me.
No, it's Sevierville.
Sevierville. I just
Correct.
Moments ago on the BBC saw an image of that iconic picture of the cabin, and cabin is probably too generous a word, where she was born and raised. What exists at the Dolly Parton home site?
I'm not sure. It's pretty well at the home site. I know she sold a lot of properties here, but the home site, I think, has her personal house on it. The actual house that her parents were built in and lived in, I think the people can still go visit that, but I'm not sure about that. They have a replica at Dollywood of her house, and to see how small that was is just incredible, with her living, I think, with 12 siblings in there.
Yeah, 11 or 12. My mother is one of 11. It's just like an astounding number. 11. Can you imagine?
The picture that
she's, I think, one of 12.
And the picture that you're seeing with her sitting on the front porch with her guitar, that is the replica at Dollywood that she personally oversaw. Her mother signed off on it. It is exactly what was at Sevierville, Wes. Sevierville. And the actual site is where she grew up is not open to the public in Sevierville.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Hey, Wes, thank you.
Also, yeah. I was going to mention also, TC, that her statue is that very photo of, and we went to her statue last night to place flowers.
I'm sure.
And there were hundreds of people that have placed flowers. And that's the very statue, the very picture that you recommend, that you remember.
Phenomenal.
By the way, breaking news, #3 radio program in all of Sevierville, Tennessee, right here and now.
Wow.
John, you are in Indy. You've got a name, someone you think similarly attracts from all communities and is beloved. Who is it? Hello, John.
Hey, John here in Indy.
Let's go.
Sports, Jim Nance.
Well, I love the voice.
Music.
I love the voice. I don't know much about the man.
Hello, friends. Yeah.
I was about to say.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all you need to know. Hello,
Right.
friends.
Hello, friends. In music, Stevie Wonder, Lisa Loeb, Linda Ronstadt. In politics, Joe Lieberman.
Joe Lieberman. You could put John McCain, the three amigos, two of the three amigos, maybe Lindsay as well.
Correct.
I love that you came prepared with a list, not just one, but you came with a list in all categories. Tony, Delaware, quickly, I'm running out of time this hour. What did you want to say?
Yeah, hi, Michael. We're trying to figure out why Dolly is so beloved, Stevie Wonder so beloved. My opinion is that they are happy people, and happiness is something that's in short supply in our world today, but we could definitely take lessons from Dolly and Stevie and others like that, and then they do their happiness and give back to others like Dolly with the books. Yeah. Appreciate you taking my call.
Appreciate the way you summed up your thinking. Thank you for that. Austin, Texas. Sam, your turn. Hi.
Hey now.
Hey now.
Hey, Michael, good morning. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
Somebody I wanted to say, not just because I'm biased to where I live, but Willie Nelson, what he was able to do in the 70s of bridging the gap between rednecks and hippies, and then how he integrated like Charlie Pride, a black country singer, into his music, his connection with Snoop Dogg, all his historical past with helping with Farm Aid. And if you were to look at two former caricatures of society, like an Archie Bunker and a Meathead, you could find commonality there in their like for his music, as well as the troubles he's been in. The Meatheads would look past his marijuana troubles, and the Archie Bunkers might look past his tax issues.
I think it's a great name.
A good bridge.
I think it's a great name, and it's kind of funny that Bob Crawford, who right now is on tour with Willie Nelson, and we were chatting with from his tour bus a couple of moments ago. We talked about Willie, and Bob thought, maybe the politics, the political involvement that he had would cause some to give pause, but I'm with you. I think that Willie Nelson is universally loved as well. This is Allie. Allie's in Columbus, Ohio. What did you most want to say, Allie?
I'm surprised that nobody has said Barry Manilow yet, so I'm calling to say Barry Manilow.
Okay, make your case. Do it quickly.
Well, even though he's gay, everybody shows up to his concerts, even MAGA. They're first in line.
He's gay? What?
Surprise!
I love his music. I'll tell you the interview that I would love to do with Barry Manilow or any number of other individuals. How difficult is it to sing a love song about a heterosexual relationship if you're gay? Apparently not at all difficult.
Not at all.
Not at all for him.
Not at all hard.
Yeah. By the way, good trivia. Barry Manilow, once a passenger in my MDX.
Perhaps a story for another day.
My Acura MDX. Hey gang, we are so close to a major subscriber milestone. We just need more independent thinkers like you to help us get there. We publish smart, relevant content every single day, so please ring that bell next to the subscribe button and you'll never miss a video. Thank you for watching.